So for the Montreal Canadiens, before there was a Guy Carbonneau, before there was a Bob Gainey, before there was a Gilles Tremblay, there was a Claude Provost. Now, the big question in 2020, because the Hockey Hall of Fame inductions just went a few months past, and we thought he was going to make it into the Hall of Fame, but for some bizarre reason, and a lot of people have posted this online, Claude Provost was rejected for induction to the Hall of Fame, even though it was high in a lot of people's lists. Now, Claude Provost was probably the best player of his kind in his generation for the Montreal Canadiens. Ladies and gentlemen, there's two dynasties we've talked about previously. The 1950s dynasty of the Habs and the 1960s dynasty of Montreal, which was carried on with some of the players from the 1950s dynasty. He was part of both of them. He won 8 Stanley Cups, and also the achievement for a gentleman who played the Bill Masterson Trophy in '68. Now, 9 Stanley Cups. I always confuse it. 9 Stanley Cups. Now, just like Ralph Backstrom and other players who won multiple cups, I think he's not been recognized because even back then when he was having a successful career, he was overshadowed by the bigger players of Montreal, Boris, Henri, Beliveau, Boom Boom, Dougie Harvey, Donnie Marshall, a few others, even, the late 50s players. But he came to heavy prominence for a lot of people when he's playing with the now defunct Montreal National in the QJHL in 52 when he scored 24 goals. Now, 53 and 54, he had some great seasons with the Montreal Junior Canadiens, scoring 24 goals and 45 goals in back-to-back seasons. Now, with Shawinigan Falls of the QHL, he continued success in 55, where he scored 25 goals for them in the regular season and 2 in the playoffs. Now, 55-56, he started the year with Shawinigan, but had a very good start with 15 goals, 15 points in 9 games. And he got the big call up to Montreal just in time for that cup run in 1956. His rookie season, he had 29 points, including 13 goals, and a big 6 points in the playoffs. But every year he was playing for Montreal, he was getting 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 goals. But for some reason, ladies and gentlemen, maybe it was a shift in concentration. In 62, in one of the best seasons ever for a defensive player, he scored, get that, 62 points in 70 games, including 33 goals. Now, 63, he kept on with that pace, scoring 20, and he scored 27 and 65, and he turned up his offense in that 65 cup run. 66, probably one of his better overall seasons. We had 55 points in 70 games, including 36 assists. 67, got them to the finals again, lost to Toronto. 68 and 69, again, 14 and 13 goals. Last season, 1970, 10 goals. Now, one of the few players ever to play 1,000 games with only one team, the Montreal Canadiens. 254 career goals, 335 assists for 589 points. And again, 126 playoff games, 63 points, including 25 goals. So, ladies and gentlemen, nearly 1,200 games with one team, the Montreal Canadiens. And I think about all the non-press he got over the years. I never heard anybody complain about the way he was playing. He never did nothing but brought Montreal to a different level. I think with some of these games that they won 4-3 and 3-2 when Provost scored, he was the reason. Personally, he was worth 4 to 5 wins for Montreal per season. And if you look at his playoff totals, ladies and gentlemen, you look at 59 when he scored the big 6 goals. You look at 68 when he had a big 10 points. His playoff runs will always be the same. You get, half a point pace a game. Always get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 big goals. And every time he scored meant something. Just like Gainey, just like Carbonneau, just like Gilles Tremblay. And for me, Claude Provost should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But if you win 9 cups, like if you're part of the Yankees, the big era, like the Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris era, or, whatever. If you win 9 world championships for the Yankees, shouldn't you be in the Baseball Hall of Fame? Of course you should be. So I don't really know. I don't know if they're saying there's too many Montreal Canadian players in already. Guy Carbonneau has arrived in the Hall of Fame and is well deserved. But why would you put Guy Carbonneau in after when you don't put Claude Provost in? And you know what really shocks me, ladies and gentlemen? His death at a relatively early age, at 50, when he took a heart attack while playing tennis in his new home in Florida. I mean, that was a tragedy beyond a tragedy. Him dying, there's so many people he could have guided and coached in the 1980s and 1990s. And, you know, he was a great part of the Montreal alumni. But to have the memory of his passing still in our minds and the members of the media. See, if I was voting on a Veterans Committee, I'd put him in for sure. Nine cups alone. I mean, he was a defensive stalwart. And he put 20 goals a season on average. That's tremendous. But, you know, I don't make the rules, and I don't play politics, and I'm not going to talk about politics because there's a lot of Maple Leafs and Canadians that I know people think wired in the Hall of Fame. Because, see, the problem is when Montreal Canadiens won so many cups, you got a guy like Ralph Backstrom and even a guy like Red Berenson who won cups in Montreal. They're not in the Hall of Fame either. And look at Berenson, all the years he coached, and you look at some of the other players. Does Claude Lemieux not get in? Of course he should get in. There's players that have done less. You know, the number of cups he won, you know. But anyway, Claude Provost, we have the memories, and I know there's a lot of people that want him in the Hall of Fame, and if anybody's listening to this podcast, put the pressure on for 2021 to say, listen, we need to get Claude out in there. He deserves to be in there. He's a good guy, 9 cups, celebrates the old tradition of the 2 dynasties, and, you know, don't forget history because you're bound to forget it if you don't remember it. No pun intended. Have a good day. Bye.